Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back with a coffee break conversation today, and we are joined by three lovely guests, as you can see. Thank you for joining us today, guys, and sharing all of your wisdom. So we have Claire, who is here for me from Carnley in Bangor. We have Michael, who is from the Knock circuit, and then we have Andrew, who is from Dundrum in Dublin. Hi guys, thank you for joining us. We're here to talk about being online. Yes, being online again. I guess before Christmas, the few months before Christmas, we had maybe a bit of a hybrid model going on, where we had some online, some face-to-face kind of working together. And maybe the expectation, or the hope at least, was that into the new year we would have more face-to-face time. But here we are, back online again. So I guess we want to have a chat today to see how we embrace that, and actually how we make the most of this time while we have it instead of wasting it. So for the next few weeks, how do we embrace being online? But I guess I want to start with how you guys are and how you're feeling about being back online for a while. So yeah, how are you? Michael, how are you?
Not too bad. It is a little bit frustrating to be back online, because I think we had the taster of those kind of 4 to 6 months of being back in person. So being back online is nowhere near as good as that is. But it's a very capable and good substitute. So we're able to continue to have relationship, we're able to disciple, and we're able to have fun. So it's nowhere near as good, but if we've all kind of got to knuckle down for the health of more people, then I think we can do it, and we've proved that we can do it. So not too bad. It's probably a good way to sum up how I'm feeling.
I'll jump in. So I'll not lie, I'm not thrilled to be online. However, I'm so thankful that I know more about online than what I did at the start. So Zoom to me was not a thing before, and now I kind of understand how to use it. And it's so good that we're actually able to still do our programs online. So I'm able to do our Sunday school, which I have never done in our church. So that actually has been such a joy just to be able to do that. So I'd actually be really sad if that part of my ministry stopped, because we're meeting in person. Like, I'm still enjoying doing things like that. So yeah, I'm not buzzing that we're online, but also still so thankful for the opportunities that we have there.
I guess it's my turn. Yeah, I think definitely at the start of January, kind of when the news hit that we're going to be online for the next bit, I definitely felt a bit deflated. I was kind of a bit like, oh, again. And so even just on the run-up, so we kind of had our first online thing last Sunday, and on the run-up I was kind of really deflated, thinking online again, oh, yada, yada, yada. But then actually kind of when we got into our kind of first online thing, it was just an online Bible study, and it was just lovely to see them. You know, it was lovely to see them, even if it was online. You know, it was just great that we had that space to catch up and just to meet together, to read the Bible together. And it was just, you know, it was really good. You know, we were small in number, but it was really good. And so I guess in a sense, a bit deflated that we can't meet in person, obviously. But I guess like the rest, I am thankful for the opportunities that we do have and opportunities that we are given, because they are important and they should be used. So yeah, mixed feelings, deflated, but yeah, thankful for what we do have.
Yeah, I actually love that, because it doesn't matter where we are, or if we're online or face-to-face, people have connection. And actually it's really nice to see people's faces and to go through life together. So thank you for that. What have you found that works on Zoom or online? Like, what are your kind of top tips of what actually works? Claire, start us off.
And I mentioned there about Sunday school. I genuinely was so petrified to do Sunday school online, but actually it works so well. So that is the highlight of my week. And just wee silly things like polls on your Instagrams and things. Also just putting up on your Instagram, like, how can I pray for you this week? You'll find that actually young people who don't connect maybe spiritually in your church are starting to join in on things. And just sharing short stories. I think that is so important. So in our church Facebook page, we have been sharing like Saturday testimonies and things like that, just 2-minute videos. Peter Morris always says it's when people are sitting on the toilet and they're scrolling, that's when you're going to get them. So there's a wee shout out to Peter Morris.
He's been saying that for years.
I know, say. So just little short things, like short snapshots is just like getting Jesus out there into so many people. So yeah, just taking like little things that we have and just using them. Sometimes I find that God's like, post a wee verse. So I'll just post a verse. Like it doesn't need to be a big massive thing. It can just be one little thing and you don't know whose day you're impacting.
No, fair. That was good. I guess I'll jump in next. I don't know, we're all kind of taking turns. I know things that have worked really well for me is kind of like in terms of online gatherings when they're really interactive. So like when I kind of started doing online gatherings, especially youth stuff, I would have started doing talks and stuff like that, but realized that actually if I'm just speaking to them kind of through a computer screen, just kind of like a talk, they'd switch off kind of very quickly. And so one thing that I find work, especially on kind of like online gatherings, is when it's kind of like more interactive. So we kind of move from kind of like from talks to maybe a bit more interactive Bible study kind of thing, where they're not just looking at their screen, but they have their Bibles as well. And then they have paper, which they can kind of doodle and stuff like that. And so I found for online stuff that really works well. And that's kind of really helped me kind of, or helped me help them kind of move on a little bit, if that makes sense.
I think for me, in terms of gatherings, for what we do, we've created little pockets of smaller, like small groups, like 2s and 3s with a couple of leaders, and they meet kind of throughout the week. So they're not meeting on a Sunday or when we normally meet as a bigger group. They're meeting in much smaller groups, which has allowed us just freedom of much deeper conversation. So we've 5 of those meeting, kind of fortnightly. It's not every week, but we've groups meeting, just to talk and chat, and that's kind of, I would say, where the deeper discipleship is happening, which actually frees us up in a bigger group to just have much more fun, to play silly games, to use online YouTube, and like categories online is just unbelievably good. Just finding those games that they love and we can do when we're gathered. Having the littler groups and the big groups is so important. That's certainly something that's worked for us, and I completely agree with giving, sending out the picture to say this is what you'll need tonight with books and pens and stuff really helps, and Instagram and Facebook are just so important at this time as well.
Great, yeah, fab. You were talking kind of the fun side of things as well, Michael. Like we've talked about Bible studies and Sunday school and stuff, but let's stick with you, Michael. And how do you create that fun through a screen? Because it is very different. How do you create the fun?
So share screen is unbelievable because you can just like YouTube everything. So we bring in people to share their stories, so kind of testimony, but it's like a hot seat, so you ask questions of them later. And we'd one in the other night, and this has happened before, but he like dropped little nuggets in his thing. So it was like, one of the questions was, have you ever been on TV, or if you could be on TV, which TV program would you be on? And he was like, well, I was on TV like 6 months ago. And they were all like, what? So then we had to go onto YouTube to find the advert that he was in, and stories then from his past when he'd like burnt down his house at uni, which is kind of ridiculous, but it is exactly what young people love to hear the stories of. So we're bringing in people to have those conversations and stories and testimony which the young people love, and then whenever they meet them in person, they'll hopefully know them a lot better. There's so many games out there that can be done. Like I mentioned categories before, it's literally just share screen and click a button and then come up with a whole list of things. I've seen people, I haven't done this yet, but I've seen people do like virtual escape rooms and like Among Us gatherings where they just play the game Among Us and on Zoom. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but that's kind of my next goal, because that's what all our kids are playing, and I haven't entirely discovered what it is. So that's where we're going next.
Yeah, I think what Michael said about like movies and videos, like it's so important. I think if we were doing normal youth group, we would be having like a PowerPoint or showing things. So actually that's really going to help. And games, just like Michael said, there are thousands of games out there. I myself keep sharing games. And there's so many programs actually that people are creating. So like Youthscape have created a great program that is for online. So it's just using things like that and utilising the things and not stressing ourselves out to actually be like, I need to come up with a new program. Actually, there's so much great stuff out there. So just pick and choose what you know is going to work with your group. I think for us, games that kids would play is really great for young people. I know that might sound silly. So like Bring Me A, which kids would absolutely love playing.
So
Young
good.
people are so competitive. They would love things like that. And yeah, I think I found with our Sunday school age, like actually if we're going to do an activity, post it out to their house to then be like, okay, you'll need this balloon. So then they're getting post. Everybody knows I always talk about post every single time I'm on one of these. But so they're getting something in the post, and also so then it's like, I have a toy to play with or something, or I have a new craft thing. So just like getting the postman involved or postwoman and all of that stuff just brings a little bit of joy, I think.
I know kind of in my youth context, or I guess some of the things I try and keep a bit wacky sometimes. You know, just give them something interesting to try and come and do. So kind of like things we've done online baking, which was a fun one. Like it was an absolute disaster in many respects in that we got them to like put an egg white in a cup and mix some sugar in and see if we could get a meringue out of it. Not my most successful, but just kind of stuff like that, stuff that's different, stuff that even though it's a bit wacky, sometimes like, why are we doing that? We have a little bit of banter, create a little bit of rapport on the screen, just getting them involved, getting them kind of doing stuff, and just getting them to come along and have a little bit of fun is really kind of worked like that. And yeah, there's a lot of games you can do, all which are great, all which work really well, and all which definitely can be used. So.
Yeah, fab. I definitely want to try baking online. Like, I think that would just be interesting, to say the least.
Be worried. Houses would fire if we started doing that.
Parental supervision, even for the older ones.
Absolutely.
Okay, so any tips on how to build those relationships with children and young people online? We've talked about kind of the deeper stuff, the fun stuff. How do you build relationships through a screen? Andrew, kick us off.
Yeah, do you know, out of all the questions that you said, this was the one I was kind of most dreaded. Yeah, it's definitely harder through a screen. But one of the things that I've noticed that works in kind of like in the gatherings we've done, because some of our gatherings have been bigger and some of our gatherings have been smaller. And I guess it's kind of alluding to what Michael kind of said earlier on and what he did. What I've noticed is when we have smaller gatherings, it's definitely easier to chat to them and it's easier to build relationships and it's more intimate. If you have like a room of, let's say, anywhere like 10 plus, 15 plus people, it's going to be really hard for certain youth to kind of break out and chat amongst the whole group because it's a whole group they're talking to. And so actually in terms of building a relationship on a screen, a smaller group really does help, where it's a bit less of a pressurized environment. You know, they're not as chatting to too many people, so you won't be as intimidated. So definitely smaller groups helps quite a bit in terms of building relationships.
And like that can be done within a big group on Zoom as well, with the breakout room function on Zoom. So you know, I kind of load our breakout rooms with friends. So it's not randomized. So it's like, okay, if you haven't seen your friends this week, let's load you together so you can catch up. Let's, you know, the boys may just want to get together and talk about the football. So let's just put them in a breakout room so they can do that. For me, it's more, I just want to provide consistency. So they know that we're online at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. Sunday school's happening at 9:30 on a Sunday morning. They can pick up the phone anytime. Their smaller groups are meeting when they say they're meeting. So it's that sense of we're going to be consistent with what we do so that you know where we are and we're going to be there unless something comes up. But it's not like those have to be serious things that come up because I'm just in the house all the time. So we are consistent with things. So, you know, consistency in terms of our presence is really important.
I would just add, like, keep checking in with the young people and keep inviting. Zoom or other online platforms might not be the way that a young person connects, but keep chatting to the parents as well, because the parents are seeing what's happening outside of this screen, like they're with them in homeschool. So just keep checking, because the parents can tell you something that then you're able to flag up with your young person. So yeah, just keep checking in, keep inviting them to things, and just keep that communication still going.
Yeah, fab. I think that communication and connection is key in all of these things. Just stay on top of each other. Guys, thanks so much for sharing. It might be a slightly different scenario than we expected for Christmas, but it's great to see you smiling. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your learnings. We are praying for you all, and praying that we are back together really soon. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.